Hi, today we're going to talk about getting your first credit card. Hi, I'm Brad with the Firestarter Pack, and today we're going to talk about getting your first credit card, why it's important, and how you can go about getting one. So before we talk about how to get a credit card, let's talk about why you should get one. It is one of the best ways to start building up your credit profile. If you don't have any other loans, mortgages, or anything of that nature, you typically start with a credit card. Now, as you get better credit cards, you're going to get a lot of great perks. Such things as cash back, anywhere from 1% to up to 5% cash back on all your purchases. You get extended warranty protection. You get bonus points for like travel and things of that nature. So really, credit cards give you almost a little bit of an edge on life, paying less for everything. And you can take that savings and take that money that you would have spent otherwise and go ahead and save it and invest it and help build up your wealth. Also, credit cards give you a lot more protection with your money and when you buy things. You have much better fraud protection than you do with, say, a debit card. So typically, on your day-to-day spending, you almost never want to use a debit card. You're much better off using a credit card, not only for the perks that you get, but it really protects you from fraud. And some things are also just much easier to do with a credit card, such as renting a car or reserving a hotel room. So what are the methods to get a credit card? Typically, you're going to start off with either becoming an authorized user on someone else's card, or you're going to get a secured card, or you're going to get a basic starter card. Now, with an authorized user, typically this is going to be a family member, usually a parent or maybe a sibling, who already has an established credit history and they already have a credit card. And what they're going to do is add you to that credit card as an authorized user. Now, when you get added as an authorized user, this immediately gives you some credit history that will be reported to the credit bureaus. And because of this, they're going to be able to generate a score for you much faster, and you're going to have some history that you can use to leverage and get other financial products such as a credit card in your own name. Now, when you become an authorized user, you want to make sure that the person that manages the card, they manage it well. You want to make sure that they don't carry a high balance on the card or they don't make late payments or anything of that nature. So in that case, then you really don't want to be added to their card. Now, one thing with becoming an authorized user, don't look at some of those kind of sketchy services that you can pay somebody to become an authorized user on a card. That is a really, really bad idea, and that can really set you up for a lot of hurt and essentially a lot of fraud. So just don't do that. Just utilize a trusted family member like a parent or sibling. Go ahead and have a discussion with them that, hey, I want to become an authorized user on your card so I can build up my credit history. And if you need to, go ahead and talk to them and say, you know what, I'm going to give you the card right back. I'm not even going to use it. I'm not even going to spend on it. But just them adding you to that card, you don't even need to use it. That's still going to give you that credit history so that you can go ahead and get cards on your own. Another great option when starting out is getting what's known as a secured credit card. So a secured credit card means that you put some money up as a security deposit against the spending that you'll do on the card. So this protects the lender. If you don't, pay your bill, they'll have that security deposit to go ahead and cover all your charges that you've made. And typically your limit is going to be the amount of your security deposit. And most security deposits start at around $200, and sometimes they let you go up to $1,000. I always recommend just starting out small with what you can afford, and then just as you manage the card well, what will happen is they will graduate your card from a secured card over to a regular credit card. With companies such as Discover, this typically happens at around the 7-month mark of having the secured card. And as long as you keep it in good status, they'll graduate the card. And what they'll do is send you your security deposit back, as well as upping your credit limit. Now, one thing to be aware of, there's many cards out there that are really more geared for people that are rebuilding their credit history after they've made a lot of mistakes. They're not necessarily starter credit cards. And most of these credit cards, you would consider them somewhat predatory. They're going to have extremely high fees. They'll have a fee just to open the card. They'll have a fee just to mail you the card, all these fees. So you'll find that, let's say you get one of these secured credit cards for like $200 or $300, and just to open the card, they're going to hit you up with maybe $100 to $150 worth of fees, and you're going to have all of your security deposit taken up in the first month on fees, and you're going to have a very low credit limit. So you'll have to immediately send them more money to pay that down. And then what you're going to find, they'll have annual fees, and they'll try to even charge you monthly fees. Those types of cards are really not worth it when you're starting out, because you just don't need to get them. If you don't have any bad history, then you can qualify for generally a good starter card, typically from Discover or Capital One, or also your local credit unions also offer many good starter cards and secured cards. Now, the other option to get your first credit card, typically I would recommend this after you become an authorized user on a family card, is to go ahead and get a full-fledged starter card, not a secured one, but a regular card in your own name. And what you would want to do is go ahead and make sure you go through one of the pre-approval sites. I'll put some links down below for Discover and Capital One. Now, with these starter cards, these are especially good for students. They have cards meant specifically for students. So if you are enrolled in college or something of that nature, go ahead and go for one of those cards. Even if you don't have a job yet, that's okay. You put down your expected income for the year. So if you're going to work part-time or you're going to work over the summer, just put down that income that you can reasonably expect to make, and that's all you need to have to get approved. As little as $5,000 or $6,000 in a year, that's more than enough to get one of these starter cards. You'll have a low limit to start with, probably around $500 to $1,000, but that's more than enough to help build up your credit profile and your credit history. Now, whether it's a secured card or it's a starter card, you should target cards that you don't need to pay a monthly or yearly fee on. There's no reason when you're first starting out to have to pay a fee just to get a basic credit card. Typically, you're only going to have to resort to a card with a fee if you've already made some credit mistakes in the past and you have some bad information on your credit report. Then you're going to have to go to one of those lower tier vendors to get your first card. But you typically want to go ahead and go for one of these better cards, no fee cards, after 6 months to 12 months of having one of those rebuild cards. And then you want to cancel that, because there's no reason to keep one of those cards with those pretty high fees. So here are two of the key rules when you first open a credit card. Number one, you never want to be late on this card. This is where you're building up your initial credit history, so you want it to be as good as possible. So go ahead and set up auto payments, and you want to link it to your checking account, which you should have already opened. Have a link to that video down below. And this way, you never miss a payment. Now, number two, you also just don't want to overspend. You should only spend or purchase things on your credit card that you can actually pay off that month. Unless it's a dire emergency or something like that, only spend money on the card that you already have and that you know you can pay off. This is going to build up some really good habits. Make sure you won't pay interest. Now, over time, after 6 months to 12 months, you'll be able to upgrade to better cards. And these will be cards that still have no fee, but they're going to start offering you some perks, such as cash back or extra warranty protection and things of that nature. So as long as you maintain some good history, go ahead and use your card. You pay it off. You never go over your limit. You never pay late. You're going to start getting these offers typically from the current card company that you're already using, but you also probably get some offers from some other companies. And you can also try out their pre-approval links. This is where you can start upgrading to companies such as American Express, getting the better Capital One like Saver card. If you buy a lot of things off Amazon, you can get their Amazon card that gives you like 5% back on Amazon purchases and so forth. And when you start getting these cards, that's where these perks really start building up and they start saving you a lot of money in the long run. So there you have it. That's how you can get your first set of credit cards. And this is really a key step in building up your credit profile so that you can get other products down the road, such as when you want to get your first car, you want to get your first mortgage, get a loan for whatever purpose that you need. Having a good credit card history in your profile is going to make that a lot easier. If you want to get more tips and tricks like this, just go ahead and click the subscribe, like, and notify buttons so you never miss anything from the Firestarter Pack.